Hello, everyone. Hope you are having a good Memorial Day. Let's not forget why we have this holiday and remember because of the sacrifice of so many men and women that served in uniform to defend this country, to defend freedom. Let's remember that today as well. I have several things to cover here. I have also a terrific passage I will share with you towards the end of the video that is tied to a concern, a deep concern that I have that is related to AI. Okay. I'll explain, so stay tuned for that. People are losing it, y'all. People are losing their minds completely. I think things changed. In my opinion, I think things really sped up with this in early 2020. I've said this in the past. I'll say it again. The craziness, this is a broken world. Yes, it's always been like that. However, I believe that since early 2020, things have really, the fan has sped up big time. Okay. Things just seem like they're spiraling out of control with crime. And I've always said that the very, very thin line of relative law and order is disappearing, I believe. Now, this can depend on where you are located, because I'll have people say, well, dog, in my little town, everybody is polite and respectful. We have low to no crime. That might be the case. If that's the case where you are, never move. Don't let anyone else move in, because you are a rarity. Okay. So I believe that line is quickly disappearing. And my concern is that we're going to see a day where the police, and you already hear about, the response times for emergency police, that kind of thing, keeps growing in a lot of cases, not every case, but I believe that's a trend. And I believe we could see a day where, you're pretty much on your own in many places. Kind of have that already, So we have to take steps to prepare for that. We have situations where there's just mass chaos and it just keeps going and going. And it's a while before any authorities come onto the scene. Okay. We have had a situation last night. It looks like South Carolina, Horry County, Horry County. This was Watson Avenue and Little River area. I'm not familiar with that area, but there was a mass and many victims in this thing. They were not given, at least earlier this morning when I was reading about this, they weren't given many details on this, hardly any details. But many victims were flooding the hospitals or overwhelming the hospital there. Some were arriving via EMT vehicles and even arriving in personal vehicles. There were so many trying to get to the hospital from this. I didn't give names or really much of a context on this. Maybe y'all know if you're in that area. Please let us know in the comments, or if you have updated information, let us know. But this kind of thing, they say it was just mass chaos. This kind of thing is becoming more common. I see in sporting events, it's just commonplace. Just depending on where in the stadium it's going to happen, right? New Jersey. I have a subscriber up there that shares with me some information from time to time, and he shared this with me. There was a situation at their Menlo Park in Woodbridge Mall. It's apparently a pretty big shopping mall. The other night, I think it was Saturday night, they had over 300 teenagers rush this place, running brawls, running fights. There was also a stabbing at Seaside Heights. But in this mall, over 300, they say this was organized via social media. And they descended on this place, terrorizing just regular people trying to just go about a Saturday evening at a mall. I mean, you remember the day when you could go to the mall and not even have to worry about it? Even as kids, we would go to the arcade. My parents were in JCPenney or Sears over there. I'm in the arcade with my brother, and we're kids. Didn't think a thing about it. You're going to be safe. Nothing's wrong. No issues, right? I mean, my parents will never know how many miles we rode on our bicycles, our 10-speed bicycles. Man, we went neighborhoods away from our neighborhood. We were gone all day without a water bottle, without a helmet and shoulder pads and knee pads. And we survived. I don't know, how do we, in the summertime in Georgia, we didn't even take a water bottle with us. We didn't have a cooler. We didn't take a packed lunch. We didn't do anything like that. And we were fine. I guess when we got thirsty, we found a water spigot somewhere. Some other kids' parents gave us Kool-Aid, chips, Slurpee, stopped at the Magic Market, the 7-Eleven or whatever it was called. There were several of them. We had a Magic Market and a 7-Eleven. Stop in there. We always had a little change on us in case you had to make a phone call, I guess, somewhere and find a phone booth, but we hardly ever did that. We carried a little bit of cash on us just to get a frozen drink or something and a candy bar. That was it. Like, we subsisted on that like days for a day. Rode our bikes like mad. Anyway, I digress. But such a different time, I know. But we forget about those, right? A lot of times. But this is awful, and this is just one instance of this. I hear about this in malls across the country. It's not just in New Jersey. It's everywhere, even in places that you just don't associate with high crime. It's commonplace. What in the world? And what does this lead to? You know, how quickly are we descending into something worse, to where you just really can't count, you know, you just really, the police come in afterwards or whatever, and I'm not blaming them at all, okay? But there's only so much they can do. Are we going to see a day where, and bless them, I don't know how you pay somebody enough to be a police officer nowadays, but are we going to see a day when there's so few of them, because most of them have quit, that we're just on our own. We're on our own. Third world nation type stuff, you know. So also, this is just a few examples. This was in New Jersey. I saw this in Florida. I believe this was Kissimmee or Orlando. I think that's close together. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm sure y'all will correct me if I'm wrong. A Checkers fast food restaurant employee having an argument with a customer about the customer's complaining because he didn't receive enough mayonnaise packets. Okay. They argue the Checkers employee, a 23-year-old male, climbs out of the drive-through window, comes around to the front of this car, and does that to the driver, and the driver does not survive. 40-year-old male. Over a mayonnaise packet, y'all. Now, one person lost his life, and another person, the employee, has ruined his life by doing this. Over a condiment packet. Okay? Lost it. Totally lost it. Unreal. Saw this on the Daily Mail. This was in Seattle. Wow. You know. Outrage as a Christian prayer rally is attacked by a mob of protesters. It got violent. This clash went on for hours, y'all. Dozens were arrested after violence broke out between protesters and police at a religious rally in Seattle. Granted, I know, it's Seattle, but this could happen, frankly, y'all, we know this, anywhere in America. I mean, it really can. Christian activists from On Fire Ministries hosted a May Day USA rally at Cal Anderson Park on Saturday. The event was described as standing together for biblical truth and values. This was part of a Don't Mess With Our Kids movement. This is according to the organization's Facebook page. Counter-protesters showed up under the theme of Keep Your Bibles Off Our Bodies. Well, as I said, it got violent. There were fights. Police come in. They arrest some of these protesters that were attacking the Christian group. Then more protesters come in to attack the cops who are trying to arrest part of their group. And some of them get arrested. And this just goes on for a while. It's just insane, y'all. This just kept going into the day, into the afternoon. And then the idiot mayor had to say an idiot thing. He said it broke out because anarchists infiltrated the event. Today's far-right rally was held for this very reason, to provoke a reaction. To provoke a reaction. Really, man. And that's another example of losing your mind to interpret something like that way. So in a major American city, a group of people were trying to talk about their faith and hold a little rally. And if you don't agree, and they were met with violence. And if you don't agree with it, you can just keep walking by, right? Just ignore it. That's what normal people do. You know, if I see something where somebody's with a bullhorn and yelling things, and I and it's about, I don't know, something I don't agree with, I'm not going to go grab a stick and go after the person. I'm just going to keep walking. It's the best thing you can do. These are just a few examples, y'all. You see a lot of examples. I kind of touched on it yesterday. Airport, airlines, road rage. It's Mad Max, beyond the Thunderdome out there on the interstates. I hear stories from Mrs. Dog every day that she has to drive into Atlanta, and it's so horrifying, the things that she sees, and I worry about her. But, the road, the airlines, just about any public place that can have a restaurant. I saw another one where at a Chuck E. Cheese place for kids, a bunch of parents got into a brawl. Wow. Little League, I saw a thing this morning where Little League baseball, where a coach, these are little kids too. These were pretty small kids, y'all. And the coaches and parents are yelling at the umpire, and a coach runs out there and pushes the umpire around, gets physical with him. The umpire didn't start it. The coach did. And the video wasn't very long. Looked like the umpire was like, this game's over. The coach, you're not running the game. The umpire's running the game. He's in charge. And I don't know how, I bless him, but again, I don't know how much an umpire gets paid. Probably not that much, but that might be a tough deal to find somebody to want to do that, especially with youth games. Can you imagine? How are people becoming cops? I don't know. I just bless you, Yeah, there are bad ones. But I believe, just like it's a microcosm of society, I believe that, especially in law enforcement, I believe the overwhelming majority are fine people. And if you're an umpire, it's not like you're trying to start something. The umpire just wants to get through this game safely and get it done, right? Man. But yeah, you see it in all types of venues and public places. So all that to say, we just have to make sure we're ready to avoid these kind of things. Number one, go the other direction. I would go to places early if possible. If you're able to, carry protection. If you do that, make sure you know how to use it and practice that, whatever it is, whatever you have. But the big thing, the number one thing, is to try to avoid those situations. If you see something developing, put as much distance between that and yourself as possible. Because if something doesn't look right, it probably is not right. So don't talk yourself out of, this looks bad, I'm going to keep walking towards it. No, go the other way. Okay. All right, I'm going to go to a passage. But things do. I mean, people are losing it. Things seem to be going a little more out of control. It seems like almost every week, almost every day. I don't know. Where does that go? Where does that lead to? Is it going to get any better? Does this just keep getting worse? And what does it look like? It's hard to tell for sure, but it doesn't look good. Going to Galatians. Galatians, part of chapter 1, starting at verse 6. The writings of Paul, the Apostle Paul. I'm astonished that you are so quickly deserting the one who called you by grace of Christ and are turning to a different gospel, which is really no gospel at all. Evidently, some people are throwing you into confusion and are trying to pervert the gospel of Christ. But even if we or an angel from heaven should preach a gospel other than the one we preach to you, let him be eternally condemned. As we have already said, so now I say again, if anybody is preaching to you a gospel other than what you accepted, let him be eternally condemned. Am I now trying to win the approval of men or God? Or am I trying to please men? If I were still trying to please men, I would not be a servant of Christ. That's powerful. And it's so true. If I were still trying to please men, I would not be a servant of Christ. That's what we need to be concentrating on, is to be servants of Christ. Christ, pleasing Christ first. That comes first. That's the bottom line. I saw some video, disturbing video. This looked so real, y'all. I believe it was on TikTok. There were different preachers saying, and there was a crowd there, like looked like one of the mega churches or something like that. And they were saying stuff like false teachings, and they had the Bible in their hand, what looked like a Bible in their hand. They were saying, what if sin is all an illusion, that we were good from the beginning, that we're not broken and we're not sinful and there is no hell. It says, you're good. You don't have anything to worry about. Go about your life. And it would pan to the people in the congregation, and they're smiling and clapping and all this. And it was going through several different preachers saying basically the same thing. It looked so authentic and real that this was AI generated. Somebody created this using artificial intelligence, y'all. Getting to a point to where it will be difficult, maybe already difficult, to determine what is real on a video or not. Something like this, at least. Perfect example of false teachers. I believe this will increase. And what they're going to do with AI, I don't know. I mean, that's a whole nother thing. I won't even go into the big thing on that. I've mentioned it a couple of times, but that's disturbing. But anyway, share your thoughts. And again, I hope you're having a good holiday. Let's be careful, be safe, and alert out there as we go about our business. God bless y'all. I'll see you soon.